looking for a motion to approve the agenda as presented by council.
I'll make that motion.
All those in favor? Council has a copy of the last month's meeting. Motion to approve the minutes as presented.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All those in favor? There was no executive session. Strike that. At this time, council opens the floor to any citizens' remarks. Any citizen that lives in the borough, please come forward and let us know.
Hi, I'm Dave Bauer, 200 North York Street. I have 2 items on the agenda, and 2 items are not. So I'm not sure when there's like citizens at the beginning and citizens at the end, and I'm not sure which way to handle it. Please help me quick. The first one is I want to thank the fire company for the quick response on Lee Official's zero-turn mower. He's up there watching you guys, I'm sure. The second question or comment is, I'm glad this MS thing is being kicked off. I think it's a great idea. I was anxious to enroll, but my access was denied. I tried it to do with the online and the QR code, and it won't let me do it. So I don't know.
I can get with you, because someone else tried the same a couple days ago, and it said the same thing, but then I tried a few hours later.
Okay, but it's a great idea, and I'll keep trying. So that's the 2 things that's on the agenda. 2 things that are not. When I went to the website to do this, I kept looking at the picture of Borough Hall. The picture's still the old photograph with the old green doors, and we put all that money into it, we should update the picture. And that being said, Charlie Richstreet told me he was going to try to hang some of the old mural doors in the building, but I don't know where they are or what happened to them.
You mean the roll-up doors?
Yep.
I believe they went to somebody else.
Yeah, they distributed.
Yeah.
George Lucas had.
It's too bad, because there's a lot of work put into those.
Well, I would like to take this a step further. If anybody in the borough or a resident that has an old picture depicted back in the days of the borough streets, I have 5 that I'm willing to donate to the borough. Maybe we can put those up out here and display, you know, back in the day when the streets, I know there's somebody up in the Shelley's or somebody affiliated with that has somebody, Dominique's, but there's somebody else that does it too. Lou. But, and he might be able to, you know, because I got some from him for the fire department's website. So we can absolutely look at that.
Are you looking to enlarge them?
Well,
How big are these pictures?
Well, it depends, and we'll go from there and see who's willing to provide
Maybe
the
enlarge them,
watermark and that kind of stuff.
So they stand out.
Recently, I actually came across a book. It's called The Life and the Times of Goldsboro. It's like something from the 50s. I ended up getting a second one just because I wanted to collect one and donate one. So I think that all the pictures in there would probably be really good for what you're trying to do. I'll bring it to y'all whenever. Joyce, if you want me to drop it off tomorrow, I can.
I read that book.
It's pretty cool, yeah.
Any other citizens' remarks?
Sure, I'll just approach the group here. I am Pastor Dave. I am the guy that's now serving over here in town, Church of God. I just wanted to say hi. I don't know at what point or how you could use me, community events, weekly prayers, stuff like that, but I'm certainly available for that kind of stuff. Just a little bit about me. I am a business professional by day, and of course I'm part-time over here. My wife and I have 3 kids. I'm an Army veteran. I got a captain in the Army as a daughter. She's an Army nurse serving down at Fort Bragg. We're not in the community yet, but I wanted to just let you guys know who I was. Joyce has my contact information if you guys need me for anything, and that's all I have to offer unless you have questions for me.
Well, you had mentioned about you're not in the community yet.
Yes.
You already are.
Oh.
Whether you realize it or not, you are, and you will be a valuable asset to this borough and to the residents of this borough. I want to thank you and welcome.
Yeah, thank you,
to
sir.
Goldsboro Borough.
Yep, appreciate it.
Thank you for your service.
Yep, thank you.
All right. Any other citizens' remarks? Yes, ma'am.
I'm Suzanne Bauer from 200 North York Street. Last month they discussed a discussion, and it's written up in here about prohibiting the consumption of alcohol for any person directly or managing a borough-sponsored event. I know there was some alcohol while they are there. I was young once. I consumed alcohol. I know one drink leads to two, leads to three, whoever knows what might happen. And I think that the policy needs to be in place before there is a problem. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other citizens' remarks? All right, hearing none, we'll move on. Police report, not sure up there, sorry.
Good evening, everyone. Apologize for walking in there late. It should have changed nevertheless. For the month of May, there were 0 Part 1 offenses. Part 2 offenses include 1 drug offense, 1 DUI related to alcohol, 1 other, all other offense. Traffic accidents, knock on wood, were 0 last month. Citations were 3, warnings were 8, including the other calls for service, there were 39, all other calls for service not criminal related, and 1 domestic related incident. I'll just touch on a couple things. Yesterday, I had the privilege to speak with you, Mayor Daisy. Actually, right when we got off the phone, I called our guys, and they said, we're actually down on South York Street as we speak. So they came over, took a look at it regarding vandalism, graffiti on the bridge there. So we've seen an uptick in incidents in the campgrounds. While I know the campground itself is technically a township area, obviously the way in is through you guys. So we anticipate more traffic, more things about it over summer hours like we do every year this time of year. I don't have any other information for you other than our guys have absolutely been out in the evenings on foot here recently. My squad in particular really enjoyed it, especially on cool nights to walk around the borough. And if you see us, say hi. So I know other squads have been doing that. We'll continue to do that over 9 hours. Anything I can answer? I'm trying to think if there's anything I saw. The other day. Yes. I said that. So myself and Sergeant William, there's a vehicle that has been parked just outside of borough limits in the wooded area for a lot for sale. There's a blue vehicle that was tucked back in the woods there. Mr. Combs contacted us and said that there was a gentleman there working. Again, hadn't seen him for a couple of days, so myself and Sergeant Blue checked on that. I didn't read Sergeant Blue's report before I did it again, so it was kind of redundant. The owner of that vehicle is also the owner of that property. His name is Mr. Hale. He's a resident of Harrisburg. He keeps the vehicle there with the tools that I had mentioned there, so he doesn't have to transport it. So if there's any cause of concern, it's maybe, and for what it's worth, I agree with Mr. Combs. It looked, kind of eerie, especially since you hadn't seen the guy in a while. But nevertheless, we checked on it, we verified it, we spoke to him. The state police went out in Harrisburg. He gave a very thorough explanation. So don't be surprised if you see him.
And I did see him yesterday, him and another guy up there working.
Yeah, so I don't know if that would be a continuation thing, but the explanation was he just didn't want to run the schools around, so he leaves his car there. Is there anything else that I can address? Yes, sir.
Yeah, your presence on South York Street, I think, has made a difference in the traffic. I mentioned this, I think, two meetings ago. But I appreciate it, stepping out of my house to go to the pizza shop, not having somebody come run over me.
Absolutely.
So just being there.
Thank you for saying that.
Yeah, word is getting around that speed enforcement.
Something that I may suggest, York Haven, actually, I mentioned this, I had the pleasure of covering some of their meetings. They invested in speed signs outside of their borough, specifically on South End. Those speed signs and that software is very user friendly. They've granted me access to that, and we run reports and gather all the data that we need when it comes to speed studies. I can tell you from an enforcement standpoint, those speed signs have probably paid for themselves already. And I know that just in running the reports that the speed is down significantly coming into South Landau Street. I don't know if you guys have a good relationship with them, but if you reach out and you share resources, those signs were a fantastic investment by that firm. I don't know what the cost of it is. I apologize. Maybe I should leave with that. But in terms of effectiveness, those signs were significant for them. And I've expressed that to them that we've seen a huge increase in terms of lower speed drivers this time of year, obviously. That plays a factor. Kids are out. We've had past troubles with summers and teenagers and driving habits and things like that. So maybe something to consider or at least inquire about. But from my experience on the police department end of it, having seen that software used, it was very effective.
I just want to bring something else up real quick. it's really getting to be an issue around here with these kids on these electric scooters. They
Absolutely.
don't even stop at the crossings, they straight across. I mean, is that something we need to be?
So we just got, some information back from PennDOT as well as the county regarding the specificity of what's the difference between an e-bike, a pedicycle, a motorized cycle, and which laws are pertaining to that. All of our officers have now available to them essentially a reference card. I know that a couple of them have actually taken steps to stop and just kind of evaluate whether or not kids and other participants were riding legally. So it is definitely something to bring up. We do have the knowledge now to kind of be a little bit more proactive and address it because you and everywhere, it had become a countywide issue. They've made some changes, you know, the Department of Emergency Services down in the county is pushing out new information daily about how to run those through for stolen, they're getting stolen quite frequently, serial numbers, things like that. So absolutely, I can continue to tell our guys to be proactive with that.
I would just briefly add, it's not just a county problem, everybody's experiencing issues with that. Our office has draft e-bike and scooter ordinances if you want to pursue something more
Yeah.
locally through the borough in addition to.
Yes, absolutely. I think that's something that we as a council are going to pursue. And then add additional safety elements to it. If you're gonna ride a stand-up scooter, helmet. E-bike, helmet, depending on age too.
Quite frankly, illegal altogether, which is interesting versus the e-bikes, there's some things to it. So, yeah, I would encourage that, and there's a lot of misinformation out there about the legality of who, what ages, what you need, do you need to abide by traffic laws when you're on a scooter versus, so we will actively engage in this conversation with you in terms of educating our officers as well, because they're new-ish, and they blend the lines of the pedicycle versus the motorized bike and the moped and things like that, so absolutely, we'd be happy to sit down with you and.
Yeah,
support you
Please
guys.
do.
So,
I bought a pallet and sold off 8 of them to residents.
I
So,
think,
there's a lot of them around.
well, I think the other thing too is I've seen a lot with roller blades. There's 2 that rollerblade in the borough, and I've seen the skateboards too. Now, I'm not saying it's strict, but I think, because on the rollerblades, they'll come down North York Street and go right through Pennsylvania Avenue, North York Street right there, without even stopping. But now, they are taking the safety precautions, they are wearing a helmet, but that's the extent of it. I mean, you know, you get hit by a car that's coming down, helmet might do some good, but still.
And the driver would be held liable then.
Yeah, absolutely.
That would depend on the intersection. There's points in which, like, the old myth of pedestrians always have the right of way, like, that's something that I grew up hearing. That is not exactly true. There are points in which people can enter into an intersection, so that would really depend on where an incident would not only hopefully not occur, but yeah, it would have to be evaluated in kind of our.
I did some,
Crosswalks are obviously the easiest solution, right? Proper signage is obviously, there's yield signs, you know, pedestrian yield signs are big in that, but yeah, the myth of pedestrians always have the right way, it's actually not true.
One thing's for certain, I don't wanna take any of the enjoyment or fun out of the kids riding the bikes or the scooters or the e-bikes, but I think that we need to be cognizant and get some sort of something in place for their benefit and the others that are sort of around them, cars driving through and that kind of stuff.
I did some research, and correct me if I'm wrong, person who's riding these electric bikes, regular pedal bikes, I don't know what you call them, scooters, or whatever, they must follow the traffic laws, correct?
Correct.
Okay, we have problems, as you know, we have the one-way street here. These people are coming the wrong way, on the scooters, on the e-bikes, so technically, they're breaking the law.
Correct. So here's what I think would be a suitable solution, at least temporary. I'm gonna go out to my car, I have that reference sheet that is issued directly from PennDOT. I think if I make a copy, and maybe, I don't know if the borough can put them in an area that's accessible to residents, so that we can maybe do it on an informative level before we start hammering. It's a very easy to use chart. I haven't memorized it, so I don't wanna answer your question entirely, but I think that that's something that is available now that I can make copies of, give to you guys for reference, because like I said, the definitions and where we're at are very blurred with e-bike, ped-cycle, e-scooter, like there's different applications to those things, even though they are very similar devices. Everything from ages to licensure can be, that needs to be changed. Not changed, but
With these children, I think it's up to the parents to educate these children. If you go out and buy them a motorized scooter, or whatever, it's up to the parents to educate these kids what they can do and what they cannot do. So maybe if we can we write something up, put it in the electric bills, and send them out to the residents, for their parents to educate them what they can do, you go buy a scooter, just throw them out there. Pretty sure, I shouldn't say that, I guess, but I think it's up to the parents to educate these kids what they can do and what they can't do on these scooters.
I think it's a good opportunity to teach them really traffic laws.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay, I'm glad.
I know the e-scooters is very popular in the neighborhoods, and by law, you have to be 16 to operate those. And I've seen 10 feet, 9 feet, and
Yeah.
all on.
Yeah.
So the e-scooters they're pretty big and popular, but you're right. People are just buying them without really understanding the laws and how it's applied.
Are they allowed on the sidewalk?
Yes. They are allowed on the sidewalk.
Cause I always get flattened.
I believe, and again, I would have to reference that little cheat sheet, but I believe that there's a caveat to an urban district, which I don't know if that applies anywhere in the borough, but they are generally allowed on sidewalks.
They're fast.
They can be, yes, ma'am. All right, if there's nothing else.
Thanks, sir.
Good.
Moving on to the fire department report, for last month, we had 26 calls. I don't have a full breakdown. 70% of those calls were fire police. We had, this month already, obviously, we had the tractor fire up at Lee Fishel's property. They actually had it, 90% extinguished by the time we got there, and there was no extensions in the garage. The other big topic, the train issue. So that occurred the other night in Norfolk Southern, running a 123 car train through town. The computer went into an emergency shutdown, an emergency stop, not shutdown, emergency stop. Train stopped. They went to what they call stretch the train again, which means they're pulling the cars again to attempt to move. And a pin broke in one of the knuckles. And if you had seen the pictures out on the fire department's Facebook page, it snapped the knuckle, pulled the knuckle and the bar out from the car. The train was removed by midnight, and everything was well. But there were people on the other side of the railroad tracks down at Golden Fish. So there are two options that we provided with some of the folks to gain access. One was to go down Stillhouse and go down by the barge and get picked up for anybody that was over on the island. The other option was, if we had to, we could have we have four-wheel drive and we have a UTV that could have gotten access to the Boat and Fish Commission side if there was any emergency or anything of that nature, but thankfully there wasn't. We had our chicken barbecue yesterday, absolute success. I think we sold out. We started selling at 10:30 and sold out probably within an hour and a half to 2 hours. We were sold out. We're doing a lot of training with the other fire departments. We did rural water down here at Boat and Fish on Saturday. And then there's some other opportunities. Nobody's doing a tree planting ceremony at Shelley's, or up at the township building, a dedication.
Paddletown.
Oh, it's Paddletown? Alright. And then some other events. Outside of that, that's all I have for the fire department. Motion to accept both reports, police and fire.
No, make that motion.
Do I have a second? All those in favor? Mayor's report.
Okay, I don't have anything, but just a couple things I wanted to touch base on. We're getting a lot of complaints about like abandoned cars. I know they're not abandoned, obviously they belong to somebody, but they do kind of look bad. So if you got one in your yard, just try and get it inspected or registered, or at least just washed, and maybe move it to a more suitable spot. We'll start sending out letters here soon.
I'll give you two more.
2 more.
Yeah, across the street from me on the other side of Pennsylvania Avenue, blue, Dodge Caravan, and then the yellow, PT Cruiser.
That's been there for years.
Yeah.
And it was parked down here on East Broadway for the longest time.
They just moved it to another spot.
It disappeared and then it came back.
Yeah, I don't
Because
know
the
if you,
homeowners told that person he was allowed to park it in that parking space, in the parking area there. He owned that, I guess, the homeowner, or the garage owner.
It was the son, I think, wasn't it?
Well, Ben Murphy just sold that property that the PT Cruiser was originally at.
Correct.
So I don't know if they're gonna be moved to the PT Cruiser now.
The
Because I mean-
hotel,
Yeah,
they stole that, that's right.
Yeah.
It was up for sale, he was looking to sell
Aren't they putting a business in there?
yeah, I heard there was a first store.
Yeah, Toy Story.
it. Oh, you're talking on nights?
Well, Comfort Keepers.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
that's,
so-
this is the parking lot behind the apartments.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah,
it's
so
the,
they're keeping that building, but the one that he owns like across the street. Yeah, he sold that one. So, but that was where the PT Cruiser was originally.
originally, now it's sitting behind the hotel, or the apartments there.
Yeah, same property, where Ben Murphy.
Chris, there is somebody contacted me about a car on 502 Big Sky in Overlook. It's a white car that's wrecked, sitting in the road with no tag. The whole front is full.
yeah, what, I didn't see that.
Yeah, it's right, it's on the right-hand side.
What if that's what trying to ban my scooters? No, I don't know if you ran into this when you were mayor, but there's a lot of door knocking, and you just hear people ruffling in the background, and then they never answer. It's really fun.
Oh, I know.
So that's another thing, and just I guess for the video, if you see this, you know, we're gonna play that game. We're just gonna send a letter. But moving on with the bridge. Thank you, Stacy, for bringing that up. Somebody wrote some really racist stuff on the bridge and carved it right in there. I thought it was small, but this thing was, I mean, it was big. So I went there with a gardening troll, which is, I thought it was small. But yeah, we got it down. I just want to make sure that everybody knows that that is not acceptable at all. And I'm sure, haven't talked to the council, and I'm sure the council has my back on that one, but that just has no, the one right by Antonio's.
They carved it in
Facing Water Street.
But that's the railroad bridge. Going over, it's on the back.
Oh, it's on the railroad bridge, bridge over the stream.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same bridge, but it's over the stream, and
And
then
then it goes over the road.
It's the one facing the railroad bridge, the concrete bridge where they all
Where you
fish.
fish, they stop.
Yeah.
Oh,
Where they fish.
I thought you said it was.
And it could have been people that don't even live here that did that, because there's so many different people that fish there.
right, I just wanna put it out there that it's just
So
not
it's that,
acceptable.
wire wheel and.
Yeah, and that was another thing, thank you for calling me back. Conveniently after the hour I spent with the shovel, but you know, whatever. And my last thing, just, school's out, so everybody slow down, please. Kids are out on scooters.
And the
What,
adults
well,
are out
them
on
around here are my fault, so, you know.
And the adults are out on scooters.
With the baby and stuff.
While we're on the subject of the railroad bridge, just to make note of it, is that every so often you have some idiots get up on top of the railroad bridge and dive into the creek.
What?
Yes.
A foot deep?
It's 3 feet, less than 3 feet deep, when it, on normal flow, it's about 3 feet deep, and there are idiot kids that get on the railroad bridge and jump into that water.
I would suggest that you call me.
I called both, I called the police, and I called more folks on the railroad and let them know that, but if somebody's not there watching them 24/7, you know, watching the bridge, and you have to be there to catch them.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
We were
and
crazy
so-
as kids with the Girl Scout bridge. That's just insane.
Yeah, so just so council's aware of it, and this is nothing new, this is going on 5, 6 years ago. There were kids jumping off that bridge.
Anything else?
Nothing. Thank you for your time.
Make a motion to accept the mayor's report.
it was already brought up, the text messaging, it's all ready to go. When are we gonna start
We're
seeing?
still waiting for the, carriers to approve it.
Okay.
Other than that, it's all set up. As I said, if you get an error, just try again, because as I tried a couple hours later when I got home and I was able to do it.
So we have to wait for approval to actually send out a text?
Right,
Okay.
yeah.
Did they say how long that would take?
Probably a couple more days.
Okay,
Shouldn't be too long.
all right. So
They're
everybody's
very-
gonna get
they're
text
very-
messages.
Particular in the language of the, sign-up sheet, and, yeah, they're very particular.
Okay, perfect, perfect. The next thing I had, just quickly, last meeting, somebody asked me to look at the sign down at the Borough Park, about the alcohol, and it says, it's rule number 3, no alcohol allowed except with a permit. So that's what it says, I'm just reporting what the sign says. We can go from there, but that's about it for right now.
Can we look to cleaning that sign up or possibly
Yeah.
replacing it?
Yeah,
It
those
is
signs,
pretty dirty.
it's mossy or
Yeah,
moldy or.
it looks like
Yeah.
it's deteriorating.
I mean, how much is the permit? Do we,
It's $50.
Yeah, $50.
oh, $50 on top of?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you get refunded that $50.
No.
Oh, so the borough is making money. Oh, good. So I like it.
And for non-residents.
I was told it,
For non-residents.
I was told it was a deposit.
But same alcohol permit.
I was told it was a deposit, and if you clean up after yourself and stuff, then you get that deposit back, so that's not the case.
No,
So I
deposits are down
received some
here.
misinformation. Okay, I'm done.
ELH and, P report and water company report, anything on that, Joyce?
Not really,
Oh, hold on, straight that. No, because all the others fall under her too. ELH and P report and water company report. We'll just do this all at once. Go ahead, I'm sorry, Joyce.
well, the finance committee did meet, and there were certain things I want to bring up with the committee about, we're gonna be examining our rates for water and electric. I think that needs to be done. And council, that's gonna be an upcoming thing, I'm still researching things, so.
What are you looking to do as
Well-
far as the electric rates? Reduce them?
Well,
Increase them?
it would be an increase. Sorry. But there are certain historical research I have to do back to last year. You know, we did have an increase and it was passed along to the residents, and it was 2 cents, and I believe the prior council was gonna put it up in little increments. So it's nothing that we're gonna do right now, but it's gonna be researched.
My understanding from last year was we had a 6 cents per hour increase put on the borough. And looking at where the rates were and how the payments were and all that happy stuff at that time, we decided that instead of passing the straight 6 cents through to everybody immediately, I think it was July last year, that we were gonna step increase that, like 2 cents each year for the next 3 years, to get caught up for that 6 cent increase that came from our suppliers.
So really, we're losing 4 cents
Yes,
until this is done.
yes.
Yeah.
Or let me say, that's my concern.
Well, we're gonna look into that a little farther when we get into that.
And also the rates with the water company need re-examined also. So, and that's a future, research project.
With that, I would put a caution out on any kind of rate increase with the water, as long as we can continue to provide the adequate water supply and pressure to Shelley's based on the rate increase.
Right.
Yeah, but what about the
I don't think there's a
infrastructure?
problem.
And that I understand, but I mean, we've got grants that we need to start looking at.
Well, that'd be great, but we're gonna have a problem.
I'm not opposed, but I think just cautiously moving forward. I'm not saying that we aren't going to, or that isn't something that won't be discussed as council to raise the rates. but we need to be able to provide a solid, you know,
Whose responsibility is it to look into grants? What's,
It could be the
Who's that
council.
for?
it could be anybody on council, it could be, we can task that out to another committee if we wanted to, or we could look at bringing on a grant writing firm, which I am opposed to because of the price. Other than, unless it's a guarantee on getting a grant provided, then they would get a portion of the grant.
so it just wouldn't solely be thrown on Joyce?
Well, no, but that's, yeah, I mean, I would entertain the council, anybody that'd be willing to look into that, I would be one, but.
Does I do that?
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
I'm
It's
just.
too
Well,
expensive.
I'm gonna go back to the water thing there, I mean, I know there's issues over there, the infrastructure needs fixed. I mean, we gotta look at, it's hard, we said about raising money to get money to fix items, but the water company's already in the hole, the last I looked was like $243,000.
Yikes.
And that was a loan from the electric company. So we have to be very careful.
I
So
mean,
we have to find other avenues.
from what I understand, the infrastructure, it's not even Band-Aids, now we're putting Band-Aids on top of Band-Aids, kind of.
We've been putting, this borough has been putting Band-Aids on an infrastructure that is substandard and slowly eroding away without taking the necessary steps to go and improve it over the last 20 years, at least.
So 240 is not even close to what it's gonna be in the hole if we
Well,
try
no,
to.
we're all, well, the water company is what, 240 some thousand in the hole?
43.
Now throw in, how much was the cost that was discussed, what, last year or 2 years ago to look at improving the infrastructure? 800 some thousand? Or 600 some thousand?
Seems cheap.
Yeah, so let's add that to the 200,000, and that's where
For
you're sitting.
stormwater and stuff too, I mean.
Yeah, so we're gonna do everything.
Yeah.
Once you crack the street up, you want.
I know the storm, the Chesapeake Bay watershed might have some grants out there. I know, the state and federal have grants available. We just gotta see the timing and the dates that are required to have that turned in. And it's gotta be a lot. There is a lot.
It is a bit of a lift to do the grant writing process, and they are particular on what they do, except you have to write them in a particular way, which is why some people do engage those services to help write those grants.
Yeah.
Any kind of rate raising has to be done consistent with borough code, so I'm happy to advise on that if those discussions further. In addition to the grants, there's also the ability to potentially do a bond issue. But it depends on what you look at and what needs fixed or what dedicated projects you're going through, but there are a number of avenues to go.
Maybe we could get the vice president to look into these grants. Somebody needs to look at, I have no idea what I'm doing.
I'll look into the grants, because
Well,
there's,
I was just thinking we should assign a specific person.
I right now, honestly and transparent, I write the grants over at the firehouse. And we've got 4 grants that we just got the state grant. I just put in for, I'm putting in for an AFG grant for FEMA. And I have 2 other grants I put in for, one for Norfolk Southern for 10,000, and another grant through, State Farm, for, I think that was 5,000, either 5 or 10 also. But,
You're pretty good at it.
well, it's a hit or a miss. I mean, there's no guarantees on any of that, but FEMA's one of them, is a big one for, in assisting with, infrastructure. Also, the borough Borough Council's, PA State Borough Office, they can assist too, and guide us in other grants, state also. There's plenty of grants out there. Given the opportunity, I'd be willing to go and pursue and looking at what grants are available and see about getting them written. And get you the information too.
Real quick, You mentioned a bond issuance, could you kind of explain that?
It's debt. You're just issuing
it's a
debt.
Oh,
You're taking a loan, but
Alright.
the upside to doing it through bond issues that you get extremely reduced interest rates. I think, I don't know what the last rates were at, but they're under 2%, I believe.
Oh, wow.
But you do repay it as debt.
Yeah.
So you have to go through the compliance steps of making sure that
Well, no, that was that from the electric company, right?
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, that was loaded.
But, and there's no interest. Yeah.
That has to be paid.
All right, well, Borough Council, I will have several, actually, I'll just communicate via email all the information on grants that we look into. And if I'm correct, there's a website specific, yeah, it's through FEMA, and I've been there already. And borough, specific to boroughs and municipalities for grants too.
DCED or local.
That's another one too. So, but, I'll make sure that email goes out with what we can look at. So, all right, on that note, do I have a motion to accept the manager's report and ELH&P report and water company report? Do I have a second? All those in favor? All right, moving on to the engineer's report. Do we have anything? No? Motion to accept the engineer's report. All those in favor?
Can we, get on this next thing and let the, Republic guy go first, because he probably wouldn't.
I can't hear you.
Yeah, we're going to touch on new business, number one, Republic. And then we'll revisit, come back, we'll circle back to solicitor report.
Andy Morris, from Republic Services, I do all the municipal division. Been with Republic for 21 years, 9 years in this role. We've been servicing Goldsboro for 4 years, and this is the first time I've been in this council area. So I've always wondered, I've been upstairs plenty of times to visit, never knew what the steps led to. Now I know. So I'd rather be here for good reasons, not to talk about service issues, but we've definitely had some challenges this year with staffing. There's a CDL driver shortage in this country. I'm sure you've all heard it on the news. School bus companies can't find drivers. We're in the same boat. There was only one bidder on this contract last year, and that was us, probably because other haulers didn't have capacity even for a small contract. So this year alone, we've had 12 terminations and 3 drivers transferred to other Republic divisions, so that's 15 drivers down. 14 of those did residential for us. We tried to hire 15 drivers so far this year. 11 of them did not pass drug tests or background checks, so we're able to hire 4. We've had upwards of 8 SOS drivers that have been sent from other Republic divisions around the country. And so sometimes when that happens, you have somebody running around who's not as familiar, so you might have some more missed pickups because they're not as familiar. On the week of Memorial Day, the SOS drivers had to go back to their home divisions to help cover for the holiday schedules there, which meant every driver we had in New York had to show up that week in order to have the routes all run. That did not happen. And so we had to make some tough decisions that week, and Goldsboro was one of those that got told we're gonna have to be on a week delay to get called up because it was a holiday week, we were already on a day delay. We had multiple municipalities that had Fridays that had service delays early this year because of snowstorms. And so the Friday routes have been hit hard, so we sat this one, we sat up around the township, and we sat at Norris Repair Division. So I've been at multiple meetings over the past week to explain what happened. So what we're doing to try to get drivers in the seats is we have a driver training school in Texas. So we've been hiring people that don't have CDLs. We're flying them to Texas, we're paying for them to stay in hotels, we're paying for them to get their CDL. And we've currently got 4 of those drivers who are now back, have been fully trained and now getting out on routes. Because we just can't find CDL drivers. In May, we had a job fair. We interviewed 31 people. Of those 31, we thought 10 might be worth a visit, so we had them ride with a driver. Of those 10, 7 got offered jobs. 5 of them accepted, so but they're in training right now. So we don't hire them immediately, put them out on the route for safety reasons. Once they're hired, it usually takes about 30 days for them to get signed off on so they can start running around. So we have the light at the end of the tunnel starting to come around. We're doing everything we can, and we hope to not have more delays, but I know this year we've had twice, April 30th, we had 1 day delay, and I think that's when the initial call came, can you come to the next meeting? Unfortunately, my mother-in-law passed, and so I was off on the bereavement that week, and then, holiday week, we had that 1 week delay, and I know last week it was a lot, we picked up everything. We did issue a credit for that 1 week, $2,800, and that was a full week's worth. We didn't try to say, well, we're still gonna pick up all the trash and recycling, we're still gonna have to dispose of all that. We just wrote off 1 week, 1/52 of the year's thing, so, I'm here just to tell you, we know we had challenges. For 4 years, it was pretty quiet. I used to come in and see Sam and she worked upstairs, there was a lot of, nothing was good, and this here and there, nothing big. It's been challenging this year, and I'm sorry you've had to hear some of those complaints from residents, but we're doing everything we can to get butts and seats so that these things don't occur again.
I'm gonna bring this up again. Have you been provided maps of our boroughs, the streets,
I don't
stuff, so the drivers can have that in their trucks?
We have maps, I don't know if they were provided to us, but we got maps online and we have things highlighted.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that'll help the drivers.
2 challenges, which were Water Street and
River Street.
And that is a separate truck that comes and does that, it's a little pump truck.
I only seen that on, down River Road.
Yeah, they only do
The
the
big truck comes up past my house and I'm on, South River Street. I live right there and the big truck always comes through.
Well, that's good then.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
I got a couple of questions.
I'll try to answer.
Republic, do they have strategic pickup based on area?
What do you mean by that?
So like, okay, transparency, York Haven, Newberry, and Fairview all utilize bin waste. Where's the next nearest location in this outside of Goldsboro that Republic has a responsibility to pick up trash?
East Manchester Township, Lewisburg Borough, Montague Township. We're right down the road in Manchester, that's where our division is. So.
Well, you also got, you have the commercial up along 83, and you have a site out at Lewisburg, is that correct?
That is our environmental services division. They do hazardous waste, emergency service contracts, like the train derail. They're usually the company that's coming in.
Yeah. Now,
separate division from us, same parent company.
same parent company that is the second largest in the United States, correct?
That's correct.
Right. And part owner is Bill Gates.
He used to be a big stock owner.
And by stock.
Okay. I don't know if he has Warren Buffett used to be as well. But
Yeah. How many trucks specific for this area?
I believe in New York we have, just in the residential portion, we could probably 55 trucks, some of that.
55 trucks, okay. Other question, you stated that you were sending them to Texas. Headquarters?
No, headquarters are in Phoenix, Arizona, but we have a driver and a mechanic school in Texas that we put up. So, like, if somebody wants to become a mechanic and they apply, we'll send them down there, they're there for like 2 months, and we train them, and then we start doing CDL training there as well.
And is that just solely CDL training, so you won't look, or has Republic looked locally at any of the schools here for that CDL training? Okay.
Is that Class A or Class B training?
I believe it's Class B.
Yeah.
Okay.
In any of your other municipalities that weren't able to get picked up, did you do anything, did you do anything from a standpoint, any ideas on how to try and help with roll-off dumpsters or anything like that, or?
No, we just picked up everything that was out the next week. I mean, we could look at that, generally, this has only happened during a snow event. It's not often that we have to do a 1 week delay because of staff, and it just hit us hard that week. So last week we were in here a lot longer than normal, and the trucks had way more traction than normal, obviously it was 2 weeks worth. But again, that credit I didn't say, well, we're still paying the disposal, I'm gonna ship some of that out, we just did a $2,800 credit. But the problem with that then is you might have people just decide they're gonna clean out their whole houses.
Yeah, no, and logistically trying to move big dumpsters
something
And
and
people.
get them emptied into it would be a nightmare. I don't think it's, I didn't know if with any of the other municipalities, you know, you have any other solutions.
Now, we just issue credits like we did here, and we have people out picking everything up last week.
Was that 28 just for the refuge, or was that for both and
That's
recycling?
for both.
For both?
So that's, like I took the annual total, and I divided by 52, and that was the credit for 1 week.
The only other thing I had, originally, we started, like, when we had 10 waste, we always had Monday pickup. We had Monday pickup when we started with you guys, and then he said to better serve us, we're gonna move to Thursday. That hasn't worked out for us. We always did better on Monday.
Right.
Now Thursday, we're getting kicked twice as hard as.
Unfortunately, we have some staffing issues right now, so we've had some Monday routes have issues, Tuesday, we've had every day of the week, so we've tried to move it around so it's not the same people getting hit all the time.
Well, what caused us to move from Monday to Thursday?
We, lost York City, and so we had a lot of unbalanced routes, because that was like 10 routes a day. And so we had to move stuff around. So we moved this, we moved Goldsboro, we moved Monica Township, just so we could balance the routes. So there were a lot of them Monday, not as many on Thursday, so we moved people around. And we came to the borough with that. I mean, we didn't just not inform the leadership here.
That's right, but a lot of people preferred it on the
I
Monday.
get it, I'm a York County guy, we don't let it change.
Right.
Just like, I play drums in my church, and I wait for that visitor to come and see which seat they're gonna sit in, and then the regular person, they can almost go home because they have to sit in different seats. I get the York County, we hate change, and it's flipping from Monday, because you probably lived here a lot of years.
Right, well,
Right, it was always
That 2,800 credit, what was that based on again?
I took the total annual amount that we bill the borough, and just divided it by 52 weeks to get that.
That's very fair. I agree.
I'll just come out and say it, President as a mayor, I was told by a bunch of our residents, I'll just spare you the names that they wanted me to call you today. But the week that you missed, right, yeah, I told them I would, but I totally wasn't.
Well, they can show up and do it themselves.
Right, that's what I told them. Either way, so it wasn't just that week that y'all missed, it's every week, whoever's driving, they're missing entire streets, you know, or just picking and choosing one and saying, I'm not making that one. You know, is there anything you can do about that?
Yeah, is that stuff that was communicated to Adam or Chris?
And Adam and I communicate all the time when someone lets me know.
Adam's the
And he
supervisor.
will come out the same day and pick the trash up.
Yeah, no, I mean,
And then Matt has put the list on, you know, so we can keep track of people. But the
So-
residents have to know to contact the office, so I can contact Adam to get their trash picked up that day. if it
So
gets
that thing
missed.
on your website, if they put a complaint on there, you then forward that email or
Well,
something?
yeah, we know who it is, and then I can contact
And
Adam.
a lot of the residents, the seniors, they don't have a website and stuff. They don't get on their computers to do it and everything.
They can
They
call
need,
us.
yeah, they need to call.
And they're
the
ones that
borough
can
office.
call, they'll call
So it
me,
needs
I-
to be put out
Let
there,
Adam know.
in the trash bills, borough office number, borough office number.
yeah, it got really bad that week, just because there's a lot of them that don't have, you know, the ability to get online, so they're calling me like, why hasn't my trash been picked up? It's been 4 days, I'm like, it's a whole week, you know?
They
and-
call the borough office and just leave a message.
I'll take it a step further. Do you provide monthly reports to the borough on complaints received and directly to the public?
No, because most of them come through the borough here since you gave it over. But I could get a report.
Okay.
It's not gonna be a whole because.
Provide what you
it's only
can.
whoever.
Yeah, if you could, please, provide. Because they may be some that, may not call the borough.
What if you would contact him, he won't contact you?
How many drums are there?
I'm sorry, I can't hear what you two are discussing. What,
I said, is there people that
So
contact?
he picks up
him
all the
or
trash and then
contact
goes
him?
and empties and comes back to recycling. Well, what about the times they put the
Yeah.
trash and recycling in the same time?
okay, could you repeat that again?
That's okay.
I was asking her, is there people that contact the public instead of contacting her?
Oh,
And she said that they email each other all the time, so I guess they do.
Okay.
And then she was
I mean,
mentioning.
anyone that contacts me, I let them know.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But there are numbers out there where they can contact.
Yeah,
We have a website,
Direct.
phone numbers.
We have addresses for all the residents in our system, so if they call, a customer service agent will be able to enter on this pickup on that address. That,
How long
That's
does it take the
interesting.
customer service to respond to these calls that they might get? A day, 2 days?
no, if somebody
It's
calls.
like when I call my doctor's office, I get customer service and my doctor's office doesn't find out till 4 days later.
No, they enter us immediately in our system, and we're supposed to have it recovered the next day.
Supposed to.
Yeah. If you see somebody dumping recycling into the trash, I mean, it's the same truck, so if you see them dumping both at the same time, that's an issue, because our employees get fired for doing things like that, so. Yeah. It does-
I've seen that
I've
firsthand
seen it
myself,
also.
down on First Avenue here. And now my question that I'm going to ask that rolls into that is, how is that taken into account down at, regarding tipping fee at the landfill or separation?
We pay it.
You pay it
We
all?
pay all the disposal.
You pay, well, you pay for the disposal, but the tipping fee is taken into account, so now you're mixing waste.
Right, it doesn't benefit us, because it costs us more to dump at the incinerator than it does at the recycling center. So if we're dumping recycling in the trash, we're paying more than to get rid of it. That's why it's an issue. Number one, we don't want to pay more for it, but number two, we recycle for a reason.
Yeah.
And so that's an issue. It's one of our absolutes that the drivers have in their employee handbook, not to dump recycling in the trash.
And I've seen it down here on, Second Avenue.
Not to do that one, yeah.
Oh, I
I
see.
mean, not because I'm a guy fired, but you definitely, you're already hurting.
Yeah, no, but we don't look the other way, just to keep people in the seat, like.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but
Then
fire,
then your manager at a disadvantage, because they can do whatever they want, so.
I mean,
And in
let's
fact,
be
that
real,
was,
89% of the recycling, you think recycling, is going in the landfills. Research it.
It's not true, but.
Not you, you people, but once you dump it at a recycling facility, off to the landfill they go.
All your recycling facilities, and all your recycling.
You're not the only
I can't
refuse
speak,
company.
I can't speak to how much you're gonna be. When we take it to Camp Crusher, which is where our recycling center is, we transfer it there in a tractor trailer. At the end of the run, after they sort everything out, there's about 10% left that is contaminants. That's the stuff that we would incinerator or landfill. At our facility, they usually run between 10 and 15%. So there's a lot of information out there about recycling, because it's different everywhere you go.
Research it.
I mean, it's my industry.
I'm not talking about just your company, I'm talking about companies across the United States.
So,
You got
speaking of
garbage
that,
coming in
I
from New Jersey, it gets dumped right into the landfills. I've seen it when I was driving truck, and it's
Well, that's
commingled.
different.
Yeah.
subcontractor. You guys subcontract out if you can't do pickups.
We do for bulk item pickups, and sometimes yard waste, on yard waste service here, but not regular service. We haven't had this issue a lot.
Okay.
That's why this is the first you've seen it here. So,
Yeah, I'm just looking at.
unfortunately, there's not subcontractors out there that have capacity to have extra trucks or people that do it. I'm not down, talking down to any of my competitors, but we're up against the same thing. It is a crisis right now, and I talk to my competitors and we're pretty big news because everybody's pulling their hair out just like that. I mean, I have municipalities that can't find CO drivers to run their, public works. It's challenging.
So like, I am one of the type of people that they say, you people that recycle everything because you say you wanna save the world, the environment for the grandkids. I'm one of them. And they say you would be surprised what is and isn't supposed to be recycled. So I do, of course, the bottles, the cans, newspapers, your heavy cardboard boxes or whatever. What is and isn't to be recycled?
That's all, the stuff you're talking about is what should be recycled. Lots of people do wishful recycling, like, oh, this phone case is plastic, let me throw that in there. This garden hose is rubber, I know rubber is recyclable, which it is, but not in the curbside bin, it's gonna jam up our systems. Plastic bags from the grocery store, you can recycle them, they have a bin right at the store. I'll put that in my recycling cart, but that gets jammed up in our machinery, so it's not that people are doing things on purpose to be mean, they're just trying to do the right thing, they're trying to recycle everything they possibly can, so that's usually the contaminants that get to the end of the thing. Like the remote control for your TV, it's plastic or cement, I'm sure that's recycled, let me throw it in, but it's not the type of thing we're recycling in a residential recycling.
No, I put all my plastic
Bottles,
bags
jugs,
in one bag. Can I put that big bag of 100 plastic bags in there?
You can drop plastic bags off at Johnny or Walmart.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I normally do, but I mean.
Don't put them in the recycling.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I think you should actually put that out there, like, I mean, it has nothing to do with us, but, well, it does. I mean,
I can get you
make a
something
post
on
or
the
something.
website. I have stuff, I can get to you, post or something on the site.
We got, we'll just hope things get better moving forward.
Yeah, is there like
Listen, I don't like to be here to have these conversations, obviously. And our team's doing everything they can to prevent that from happening.
Now, is there a plan, maybe like raising rates in order to pay your drivers more and make it more attractive?
We've raised our rates so many times, it's just a shortage of drivers.
Yeah.
Because-
Well, to pay the drivers more, I mean, obviously, if you offer $1 million, you're gonna get every driver out there,
But it's also one of the more challenging truck driving jobs.
of course.
Compared to, like, over the road is tough, but it's different than this. When like, somebody was just talking about school being out, watch out for the kids. Yeah. What that does with our drivers this time of year is like a whole other level of safety conscious. Because all of a sudden the kids are outside kicking balls in the driveway and it goes out of the road and hurt. So, so you got that, you gotta worry about hitting a car or a mailbox or whatever. And at the end of the day, when they get back to the yard, they open the side door in the back of the truck and they climb in behind the blade. And they gotta scoop out all the gunk from the trash that got under there. Because if we don't, the hydraulic cylinders get impacted and then they don't work. So there's a lot of gross things that go into this job.
The
drivers
drivers.
do that, yeah. Yeah, they know why they have to do that. So there's a lot of things that go into these roles that aren't like normal trash pick drivers. So you have an opportunity to work here, or I'm gonna work a Dewey pile right around the corner. So it's
Yeah.
And
Maybe hire a gum guy. Have the driver do the driving.
I'll hold that up for our team.
I know what it's like. I worked for one of your competitors way back in the day when I was younger, changing tires out on the trucks. And it's not easy. We were also required to sanitize and clean them off after every run in the evenings. So I know what it's like.
Yeah. But, you know, look, I think, it's like 60% of drivers in this country are 55 and over, CDL drivers. There's not a lot of 20-somethings getting their CDLs. So I've been trying to encourage people, like, you know, the kid who's graduating and they're not looking to go to college, get a CDL, become a mechanic. There's ways to make really good livings, like good pay, good benefits, retirement plans, they can get employee stock options, there's all kinds of things they can do. It's just, that's why we're doing everything we can. We have to.
Freight's crazy.
There you go, that's the CDL.
So I got a question back here. Could higher management get a CDL and then you guys jump in when you have shortages? I mean, I own a smaller business and when I get employees calling off, I jump in. Would that be an option for you guys?
That just happened on Saturday. We had 4 of our supervisors come in on Saturday to finish cleaning something up and up. Because we were on a 1-week delay in Upper Allen Township, just like we were here. And there was so much trash, the route finished on Friday and couldn't fit anymore, so we had to go on Saturday morning. Drivers were out of hours, so
you guys had
supervisors did it.
That was actually one of the
I would have done
things-
it, but I don't have a CDL.
That was one of the things that I was told to tell you. Like, have him log in a truck.
I appreciate your time, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Real quick, recycle? Alright. All right, with, item number 1 under new business, we're gonna circle back around and, engage the solicitor's report.
Okay, first item under my report is the update on the SLFRF. I was able to review the documents provided right prior to last meeting. ourselves together on filling out those reports, so that's gonna be an ongoing matter to work with them. We're well past any operative deadline here, so it's going to be going back and hopefully trying to correct those administrative errors, but that is still being handled. Then, do you have any specific questions on that, or should I move on to the other?
I have actually a list here, and this is for you here. I want to bring your attention, I've been on the Treasury website a couple times. Could you explain to me why this shows back in 2025 that the job was completed? The project is completed?
I have never had any involvement with SLFRF reporting, so I'm reviewing what reports were submitted and trying to rectify them with what should have been submitted.
Well, this is for you, this is what I come up with, if you want to look it over.
I'm happy.
What is that?
That's the documentation states that the administrative offices upstairs were completed.
In NGDAC.
Yes.
Well, that's obviously false. They're not.
So this
you
is,
submitted.
I can speak to at least just a cursory review of this. This is the blended concepts thing that I was referencing because it has expenditure category groups, 7 administrative, 7.1 administrative expenses. That category grouping is supposed to relate to compliance with filling out the reports themselves. But then we're also talking about project completions with upstairs. So there's like, there was a reporting error at some point in time, and now those two things are being blended together and showing that money is spent a certain way. So that's why I have further questions and why there needs to be a follow-up with the treasurer or whatever appropriate official on how we can rectify those. We are beyond whatever operative deadlines to commit funds, so now we have to show that they were spent accordingly with the disbursement that we received, hopefully with how it should have been done the first time, to show that it was allocated towards those applicable areas. So I'm happy to explain that further. It is admittedly a complicated area for facilitating the documented compliance. It might even involve some kind of coordination with the auditor to make sure that previous audits are displayed correctly, because you're showing buckets of money and where they're being allocated to. So that's something that has to go back and look at to make sure that it was reported correctly.
Even if the project was reported as completed without any actual work, is false certification.
I don't know necessarily that it was reported as being completed. What
It
was,
states on it, it's completed.
these are not the reports themselves. So what you're showing here as completed status might be completed as submitting a compliance report or something like that. So I would not jump to conclusions just because you see something marked as completed. It might just be something that was completed as a submission. We are still showing an outstanding balance of money that was not set on my latest review of the updated compliance report. So I wouldn't jump to saying that we've been representing that the project itself has been completed, because I don't think that's the case. But I do think that there is a gap in what was being reported and what the intention to be reported was. It needs to go back and be.
Okay, I'll take one step further. Finance committee, whoever's on that committee, get a list of expenditures to reflect the dollar amount in the state report here showing is completed as being expended. That would be the best way to go and do it. Let's see an expenditure report from the borough showing the dollar amount that's going to reflect back on this for the dollar amount that's reflected on the SLFR.
But then I have another question about this. What money are we using to do this upstairs right now?
Well, the 60,000 that is.
This is COVID money?
Yes.
But under here is showing for offices. It's not
And
showing
the
for
office-
restrooms.
Well, that's, personal restrooms are required to be upstairs where we're working.
Required?
I believe so.
I don't believe so. Like I said, it's stated as an office project, says nothing about bathrooms, says nothing
How,
about.
if you have a handicapped individual employed up in the office, how are they supposed to get to the restroom?
Well,
I mean, we need restrooms upstairs.
Well, there again, it says offices, it doesn't specify restroom. But
Well,
I
that's
don't have a
part
problem
of
with
it,
restroom.
I would-
the employee enrichment.
I would jump in and just to be clear, your initial question on what money was supposed to be used for that, there is no ability to commit new funds of COVID money right now. That deadline has already passed. What we have talked about previously was that there was a mechanism to report money using the revenue loss selection item to apply it to lost wages, and then have essentially that bucket of money that is COVID money but was reported through lost wages compliant with the Treasury's rules. So then you have the ability to then use it at your leisure in the future for potential projects that may come up from time to time. That's why I referenced.
But there was a deadline to expend that money.
There's a deadline to obligate it, and then there's a deadline to spend it.
And that's passed.
The obligation deadline is passed, the expenditure deadline is not, but we don't have any ability to incur any obligations and commit that money currently. So like entering into a new contract today cannot be allocated for the unallocated money from the Treasury right now.
But have you seen a contract period?
There is no, that's why I'm saying there is no contract, which is why we can't create one right now. So it's gonna be a reporting issue on going back through and making sure that we were properly documenting them as we intended to, not to this 7.1 administrative expenses subcategory, but to the payroll, lost payroll option that we were able to more freely allocate that money towards under the obligation deadline and expenditure deadline previously. So it's an administrative compliance issue that I'm hopeful that we can still resolve, but from my initial review of the ongoing submitted compliance reports, it seems like there were a couple concepts that were blended and they weren't submitted correctly for the intention of getting the money spent upstairs, essentially. So that's something that still has to be worked through. I'm hopeful that we are still able to document that, because I doubt that the priority will be to claw the money back. I hope that doesn't end up for anybody's purposes, for ours or theirs, because this was supposed to be relief money for hardships that municipalities are going through. So
where is the money coming from right now to pay Golden for what they're doing right now?
There's no project ongoing, correct?
Well, I was told to get the bathrooms done, and part of the office, where the office is gonna be, that side of the building doesn't have AC and heat, so there's a new furnace.
Who told you to get that done?
What?
Who told you to get that done? You said I was told to get this done. Who told you?
I believe Mr. Smith asked me to.
Okay, I'm just asking him. I'm not criticizing you.
Well, all right, I will take it a step further. I did share with her to go and get those bathrooms done, but I think at this point in time, it'd behoove us to go and pull a ball for them until we find out emphatically where the money is, what money's being spent, how it's being spent, and where things stand with this COVID money.
Yeah, also, regardless of the source of the money, the expenditure of it still has to follow procurement requirements under the borough code, which is why I called and I said, I will prepare and give you a draft set of contract and bidding documents that we can use for accomplishing that.
Well, I do know the furnace systems upstairs were already, that was, I don't know if there's a contract that's already planned, to heat. I mean, you have large areas that have been left derelict, like this side of the building doesn't have heat or air conditioning.
There are very specific exceptions and exemptions under the borough code on what you can do without procurement obligations for bidding in contract.
Yeah, right,
So that still has to be minded no matter what money we're using where. So anything above, I believe it's $24,500 for adjusted year over year 2026, that has to go through public bidding unless it meets one of the exemption criteria. So that's why I'm sending you that draft of bidding and contract.
I thought years ago, this council, made motions and approved all the work that we were gonna do upstairs.
That might have been for development of specifications.
I can address that one real quick. That was done with previous council members that are no longer on this council, one. Two,
Oh, I agree with that.
Two, that work was planned, presented to council, and with the understanding that would have been completed in a timely fashion. However, the work was taken upon oneself to go and say, I would do this. And now I'm going to even go further and challenge anybody in this public forum to go upstairs and take a look at some of the construction down up there, because I can tell you right now, it's questionable, and we need to have that inspected, those bathrooms up there too.
Can I answer that?
Absolutely.
And I'm gonna say the name, Charlie. wasn't he supposed to have had that completed? Didn't he say he would take care of that?
Yes.
Wasn't it already paid for?
It was, to my knowledge, it was.
See, that should fall back on him,
That's-
his butt should be,
And I agree, but that's
should have to
where,
come back here and finish that and do it at his own expense.
well, no, this is where I've come back and I've asked for the finance committee to go and get a list of the expenditures on the material that was spent up there, full amount of what was spent up there, what worked and where we stand. Because now we also need to go and get somebody in there to go and actually inspect what's been done to ensure the safety of the residents or employees is paramount and followed.
I'll have the middle department, and I talked to Mike Dubs and Dolan, and that structure can be inspected.
When I see 2x12s, 4 of them stacked on top of each other, and there's one a door frame.
Well, that's for the
Mr.
driveway.
President, wait.
Yes, sir.
They're having a sidewalk down there, so they're not paying attention to you.
It's okay, it's all right. Listen, I've respectfully asked for the finance committee to get the list of expenditures of what money was spent upstairs on that specific area. And then we're gonna go from there, and as of right now, my recommendation to council is that we hold off on any further work done up there until we A, get it inspected, B, ensure that we have funds available that we can finish the project. Because we don't wanna be going and spending money that we don't have and can't spend, and it gets stuck. So, with that being said, and this under discussion and a listed topic, my motion to the floor would be we hold off on work for right now until we hear back from the solicitor on where things stand with the finance and
I'll make that motion.
I don't think we need a motion, but yes.
I'm doing it just for transparency and because it's multitude of things, and we hear back from the finance committee.
When is
I'll
the
make that
expenditure
motion.
date?
What's
You
that?
said there was a date that you need to have that money spent by, is that?
We're well beyond that.
We're beyond that.
Okay.
Okay, again, I'll make that
I'll
motion.
second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Ayes have it.
Also go on to amend the agenda to make a motion to have it inspected by Commonwealth Inspection Agency.
We use the middle department.
Well, we use both of them, we use Commonwealth and.
Who's we? We use.
Council.
Okay, I just want,
No, that's fine.
We have
Who's
two of them
we?
appointed.
The council.
okay.
So let me be clear, you want what's existing up there
Inspected.
as it is.
Absolutely.
So are you asking for a rough-in inspection?
The wood, the
Yes.
wiring, the electrical.
So you're asking for a structural rough-in
Yeah,
inspection?
we're talking,
Structural.
Will, there's at least a half an inch.
Jim Dunchuk's in there, he can tell you.
Tim, please, I open the floor to you.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's some skeptical work up there, but off of being a contractor, being a resident, has already been done with going, so he's gonna get paid, right, for what he has done.
What work has been done thus far, he will get paid.
But
Yeah, we need
as
to-
a contractor, there's some skeptical work up there.
Yes.
For sure.
Absolutely. Outside of that, no further work will continue until we get it inspected. And I am more than welcome to walk up with anybody and I will point out some of the sketchy stuff and questionable things. I'm not even a contractor. And I know for a fact, you frame up a door frame, you're not doing it with what, 2x12s, I think it is? 4 2x12s cut in probably 10 inches. And they're stacked on top of each other on a door frame. I'm not even a contractor, and that's a question. The roofing, back over the employee's bathroom, I think, some of the, ceiling joists, aren't even touching.
No, the OSB is not even on the joist, because the Olin guys are up there climbing around, stepping on the plywood and ready to go through the ceiling.
So,
But, you know that.
yes.
Yes, I see.
Oh, they are? Oh.
Motion to the floor to make an amendment to this evening's, borough agenda
Motion.
for, hold on, to have Commonwealth come in and do the, roughing inspection.
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those against? The ayes carry.
Good, dude.
Now I'm gonna take a motion, to actually have Commonwealth come in and do the inspection. Second. All those in favor? Any nays? Nice, Gary. I continue on, I apologize.
Okay, Article 8 of the trash contract, I think we discussed that.
We did not discuss that.
Yeah, I'm happy to answer any questions you might have, I have it in front of me.
I have specific, failure to respond to a legitimate, service complaint, that is no longer an issue. Failure to collect properly notified missed collections, questionable. One of the other ones, failure of truck and crew to operate complete collections on a regular route and or between the hours of 06 and 7 p.m. unless prevented by a labor strike, work stoppage, hurricane, flood, significant snow or ice event, or other violence of nature, or any other event which may be termed an act of God. $100 per day for each truck and crew not operating or not completing collections on a regular route within the time allocated for collection.
Yes, what is the question?
The question is that something that is imposed or not imposed?
Yes, these are provisions within the existing agreement, under Article 8, liquidated damages for particular events that may occur. That's why we encourage residents to submit complaints to the borough's website, because one of the conditions there is that the borough will create a lot of complaints and then notify the contractor so that we can then be compensated through those liquidated damages. And for the penalties selection, while there are exceptions to allow for force majeure for, let's say, labor strikes or work stoppages, general shortage on staffing is not excusing lack of performance, because the contractor certifies that they provide all the labor necessary to complete the contract. So as long as we're documenting things, we can impose penalties consistent with the contract, and hopefully work with Republic or whatever for any kind of lack of service, so that, like they did previously, the creditors account for lack of service. So
Which is way more than $100.
it is.
Yeah, no, I get that. I'm just, but no.
We did that to be a good partner, not play the games of.
And you're fine.
Fine, that's what you're fine.
But they, to your question, they are active penalty provisions.
Okay, all right. And now over to the borough manager regarding that, and the credit, how, and will that be reflected on the electric bill for next month?
Yeah, you should see it, they were mailed out.
On this one?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I saw it this morning.
All right, good to go. Do you have anything?
Yeah, so I had another one. One of my unlisted items is just going to hit on the general requirement to abide by bidding and contract document requirements for procurement under the borough code. I touched on that. And then following up previously, there was some discussion on alcohol restrictions for sponsored events. I had reached out. One of the task items for me last month was to look at the previously prepared resolution and see whether or not that should be amended or potentially addressed in permit applications submitted. And I generally think it would be best accomplished through inclusion of a paragraph on submitted permit applications that would extend to anybody sponsoring or responsible for oversight of an event. And I submitted a draft paragraph to the borough office for potential inclusion on that form. I'm happy to read it to as well now, if you know, just a taste of what I put together.
Sure.
It says alcohol and substance prohibition. The applicant and all event sponsors, organizers, and responsible parties shall not be under the influence of alcohol, controlled substances, or any impairing substance at any time while managing or supervising the permitted event. The borough reserves the right to suspend or revoke any permit or require the immediate cessation of event activities if any sponsor, organizer, or responsible individual is observed to be impaired, or such impairment may pose a risk to public safety or interfere with proper event management. So it reserves the right to withhold or stop activities.
Okay.
So that would be my general recommendation. And then that's it for me.
Okay, before we accept the service report, I do have the one other item, everybody got a copy of it. I've asked for, I've been paying on several items through emails over the last couple of months, and I haven't gotten
against? Okay.
And you're talking about this right here, Mr. Combs?
Yeah,
What you mean?
yeah.
And it's back to the key thing?
No.
Oh.
There should have been 9 questions.
Okay, thank you.
Alright, motion to accept solicitor's report.
Motion. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Committee reports, building and grounds.
Well, we sort of talked about the building.
I guess while we're in that, I do have one other question. We had a discussion when we all got together. I thought we were turning the back room into a file cabinet room.
Well, when I was sort of led to believe, go ahead and do the bathroom, the best way for me to approach it was already the plan that was accepted by the previous council. So I took the plan out of the safe, and I thought it was a good plan, so that's where the plumbing went in.
But that plan was dead with the last council. When it started over, that's when it was. That's on the new council. That's why we went up and we had a discussion about it.
Well, there was many discussions, and nothing concrete was written down.
We were gonna do the back room off of the office as a file room, so we could clear some of the items out of the office to get more room in there. And then we were discussing putting something out of the union in there.
There was a lot of brainstorming going on. There was not a definite plan, so I pulled the definite plan that was pre-existing.
Yes, that was what we agreed on the last time.
But was there anything written or drawn up? That
I think at this point in time, it's a pretty moot point. Don't you all agree?
Yeah.
What?
A moot point. Because we can't move forward anyway, so.
Yeah, but didn't we say nothing can be done now? And now you're discussing that
I
it
just
can't
said-
be done?
I just said.
Okay, will you?
Here, it's a moot point. Make sure everybody hears that, it's on record. Okay, we're good. Anything further on building and grounds? EMA,
No report.
are you sure? Finance, liquid fuels audit is completed. Finance committee meeting report.
Alright, I can't speak to the liquid fuels audit part, that was not part of our meeting. Finance committee had its first meeting, the end of May. We had decided to get an early start on the 2027 budget. I thank council for adding to our agenda, making that easier for our next meeting, later this month. I would like to extend an invite to the public to attend those meetings, so people have input into how your money gets spent. And the committee would like to offer council the opportunity to utilize our meetings, since they should be advertised as public meetings, to be used as the budget workshops also, come September and October. And that is it.
So we will have budget meetings in September and October though?
Yes.
Yeah, the finance committee is going to meet monthly. We're going to start taking a look. We're going to look at 25 versus budget spending. We're going to look at 26 to date spending versus budget. And we're going to use that to start to plan out 27 earlier than normal. But typically we would have September and October, or twice in October, depending on people's schedules. But since we already have those meetings available and advertised, then we can use those if the council would like for the budget workshops.
I think that's a good idea to leverage that, as long as there's no official action necessary, because of the limitations on the committee.
And we can take that forward then over to the council meeting. or the
Yeah,
borough
well, the
meeting.
council still has to approve the budget.
Yeah.
All we can do is do some work, look at some things, make recommendations,
I
Make
agree.
recommendations.
which is all that really ever happened in the budget workshops anyway.
Yeah.
Who's doing the heavy lifting with providing you information on all this?
Joyce is, if she had the availability of the records, I believe, she was going to get us the 25 and the 26 to date, and some of that was depending on the audit workload.
Okay, so the staff's picking up the heavy lift on that.
Yeah, they're the only ones with records, or access to those records.
I'll bring this up. Where do things stand with National Night Out?
It's gonna be the mayor's.
That'd be,
Mayor's
that'd be
building too, yeah.
Where do things stand?
all good to go. We can get together and start.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's National Night Out folder in that desk up there
Okay.
that you guys can pull.
Have you met?
And it has what money you have left in the account and everything.
Okay.
Do you meet with anyone?
Want to help me?
Yeah, sorry,
Yeah.
I'm so busy right now, my dad's in rehab and everything right
Yeah.
now, so like, I'm like,
Okay, so,
Yeah.
I'm stretched.
so do me a favor, at least show Chris where the info is, and along with, Stacy, and you two hook up, okay?
So nothing's been done yet?
Nothing. I mean, we got a camel. Yeah.
Huh?
Camel. We got a camel and a police. That's
Who's gonna clean up after the kid?
You
the mayor. Well, yeah.
All right, sanitation and sewer.
The only thing for sewer is we raised the sewer rate by $5
$5 per quarter?
Yeah, there was a letter or something about that.
And that was for sewer.
So,
Did the township's rates go up?
No, we raise our rates every so often, and we haven't done it in a couple years, so.
I apologize for not being at the meeting, so what you're saying, our sewer rate's going from 150 to 155 quarterly?
Yep.
Wow. It's getting expensive.
Streets and highways.
Okay, I wanna talk about the permit for the driveway on, Railroad for the pump house. It has quite an interesting story, I'm gonna make it a little bit condensed. I applied for the permit, I was sent back a request to have Kevin, authorize the borough to make the decision.
It's actually right back there.
I'm not
Yeah.
He did that, apparently when I sent that back in, the gentleman that was dealing with our permit passed away. And then the computer, they changed the whole computer computer system. So we were lost there for a while. We were in limbo. Now, I did talk to the new gentleman that's handling things, and we talked about, trying to get a permit pretty quickly, and he told me the quickest way would be to have Kevin apply for the driveway permit that we need. I just wanna say though, I think we can wait, if the council wants to wait, because I've also been talking to PennDOT, and we might be getting that part of Railroad Street back as one of the borough streets. So in that case, we're not gonna have to get a permit, and it's contingent on Newberry's adopting Stillhouse and that part of Railroad Street. So I should know in a couple months. I talked to Mr. Enser, he's gonna keep that driveway open so we can use it, so it's not imperative right now that we have that driveway put in like before when it was blocked. So it's up to council how you want me to pursue this. I can either ask Kevin to apply for the driveway permit for us. We can wait a few months to see if this portion from the square up to our borough line is gonna be turned back to us.
Do we need to make a motion to stop that or hold that or?
No, I mean, you can just direct office staff to just hold for now.
What's our reasoning for turning that back over to the borough?
Because I guess they just don't wanna take care of it. Stillhouse down to our line, they want Newberry to take. And then, I don't know if it's because when they plow this in, they can just go off the state road through the square, but, so it would be North York Street, from the square up, around, and all the way to our line. We will receive liquid fuel money, for that portion of the road, so it's gonna be around a couple thousand, maybe 3,000 every year that we'll get for liquid fuels, an increase. It's so much per mile. So,
I'm good with just holding.
it's up to council, what they,
See what happens. as long as we have access to the well house, that's our biggest concern, that's why all this thing was started.
Right.
So we have access, so I would just let it lay for now and see what happens.
Yeah, I agree.
Have any of you guys talked to Corey?
Yeah, so it's communicated that there is a documented easement, that the borough has access to that.
And I just talked to him, and I said, are you all right with it? And he's.
As long as that telephone stays out of the way.
Hey Joyce, real quick, got a question for you. So, and anybody else in the borough might know this. You know that Railroad Street actually changes over at the creek over to Stillhouse, and then from the creek, it's Stillhouse all the way out, make the left and it's Stillhouse up. Is that township or state?
It's basically now.
Even Stillhouse?
Still has a state.
Yeah. Okay.
They wanna turn that over to
And
The township, and then they wanna turn the other part over to us.
our turn back is contingent, and I've talked to Newberry on whether Newberry accepts that portion. If they don't, we're not gonna get this part of the state road turned back. Because they're gonna actually, it would be stupid, you know, for them to.
Yeah, and the only reason that I'm saying that is, well, we can't do that. I was gonna look at it, incorporating that Stillhouse all the way out for the liquid fuels.
Well, that's.
But we can't do that as a municipality.
That's-
No, I know. It was wishful thinking. All right, I say we, sit on that for now.
Okay,
I
perfect.
agree.
Yeah, so, I'm brainstorming, sorry. Anything else under streets and highways, Joyce, or no?
Well,
Yeah, there it is.
yes, there's gonna be lots of work going on. I'm meeting with Mr. Crawl, hopefully tomorrow, Crawl excavation. I'm gonna get EK involved. Clover Road really needs fixed up. And of course, there's other spots in Shelley's that need fixed. There's some storm drains that need fixed. I'm gonna talk to them about doing the section out in the back here, the sinkhole and the storm drains. I have a sinkhole on the state portion of the road, on South York Street, and I'm gonna have to have that looked at because I believe the state's only responsible for the surface water, and we're responsible for what's underneath the road. So that's gonna be an expense.
Can you, when you reach out to Crawl or EK, could you kindly see if they have an erosion specialist or somebody on staff with either one of those companies to see if they can do and the cost, and I don't know if anybody else, on erosion. Because, yeah, it seems to be an issue out back here, with the erosion at the, shed. And, yeah, because that's been filled in multiple times.
Well, we have this problem all the way out South Broad Street too, because I had the same problem in front of my driveway that opens up and Charlie would just come and dump 5-gallon buckets of stone down and keep putting the blacktop over it, and obviously it's sinking again. So it's the old storm water drain that runs all the way down through there.
Yeah, but this here is solely not just from the stormwater.
Probably the tree roots.
That's what we need to find out. Because if it's the tree roots that are rotting away, then, and producing the ability for erosion, we need to see what we need to do on removing everything to mitigate it once and for all.
Is this an increased flow or just something that has been consistently?
Consistently over time. Because if you go out back here, you'll see one patch here, one patch here. It's just ongoing.
So Ron, down there where that goes, that where it passes, there's a hole underneath there.
I can stick my arm this far, all the way around it, that
Yeah.
deep.
So I mean, that's a stormwater sewer pipe that's broken, that's washing out underneath the road.
Right away. That's the same thing in front of my driveway. Runs
Is
all
that
around.
right?
And all that, and all that stormwater was put in with sidewalks
Yeah.
That might be worth.
35 years ago.
Well, that might be worth, you all are part of like a co-op or community for your permanent compliance responsibilities, right, for stormwater, so that might be an area of project that they facilitate resources towards, or at least some kind of inspection.
Yeah, because if the pipe's broken, you can keep dumping stuff down it forever. it's just gonna keep washing out.
Wash it down to the next hole.
Those are those Band-Aids we were talking about, huh?
Yeah,
So
but
you're
our
just-
infrastructure is
You're just
really
reaching out for
showing.
quotes then?
Yeah.
That's all. You good there?
Yep.
Electric, utility, water company? Nothing. And zoning? Motion to approve committee reports.
Make a motion.
All those in favor? Unfinished business, resolution 2026-10, management's borough building key management policy.
So I just, similar to what we did with the employee manual, I just put together a cover resolution for adoption since this is policy, but this is the policy that Joyce put together following the instructions from last meeting for the building security and key.
Okay, I'll amend this, I also handed out a resolution to everybody that we will put in place. We need to get the key thing straightened out, the situation. She is an employee, we need to get she out the council member.
Who's she? You said she is an employee.
Is.
Oh, okay, you're talking
Is an
Joyce.
employee. She cannot prevent the council from being in this building. We are asking, she can still hand out the keys. Did you get that resolution?
No, I haven't seen.
She'll still be in control of handing out the keys, but every council member will have access keys to the main door to this building because some are on different committees. The president and myself will also have keys to the office. So that's the motion I'm putting on for the resolution that I put together, the motion I'm gonna put on the floor.
So this one that you just handed out is the one that you're asking to make a motion on? right?
Yes.
I think this is ultimately a policy thing for you all to decide. I looked at Joyce's prepared policy that she sent me earlier, and I think it's fine. So whatever you elect to move forward with is up to your discretion.
I'd like to say something real quick about the keys. I'm responsible for this building. I'm bonded, I'm responsible. Never has anybody been not allowed to enter the building. There's just, my policy has more structure to it. If you're having a committee meeting, you know, it's advertised before, you can sign out for a key. It's a very basic security policy. And I don't feel comfortable with, you know, I don't want to be responsible for people being in a building, you know, tooling around when it's not necessary.
Well, I think that is council's decision. We are the elected officials. You are an employee. that
I'm
works
an
for
employee
council.
responsible for the building.
We are responsible for this building too as elected officials. We are responsible for you.
Well,
She's saying
Yeah, but
it's a comfort.
The manager has always been responsible for access to this building previously.
Everybody has had keys to this building before. Now all of a sudden it's an issue. It's not gonna be an issue. It is our decision as council. We are the employer. If we need to
So why do you need a key?
sign
I'm just asking, why do you need a key?
We are signees. Me and Doug, if we have to go up and sign checks and she's not available, we have to go sign a check. I don't know what she's so worried about us going to the office for. It's not that we
I don't
need
think
in the
it's
office.
necessary that you go in the office.
That wasn't the question.
We're available.
That's not always the case. That's not the way it should be. If you look at Title 8, you rattled off and gave a whole bunch of stuff in the letter you gave. None of that was true. It was all nonsense. I mean, you can look it up.
Well, Ron, I don't know that your stuff isn't nonsense, to tell you the truth, you just threw it in front of us here right before the meeting. The solicitor has reviewed this key policy that she put together.
Well, we can use whatever key policy that he had looked over or whatever, but the key situation needs to be addressed. We have ladies auxiliary that can't even access the kitchen because they don't
I
have keys.
spoke to the ladies auxiliary and said when she's ready, I'll issue her a key.
I think
I
the
told her-
biggest thing is who has access to the actual office itself.
If
It's
she
not-
knows who that is.
It's not specifically the building, but this is like her main concern. If she doesn't feel comfortable with you two having a key, I don't know for what reason, maybe because you would have access to the safe for some reason, or
So do you have the,
files, or
That's not our
check.
intention.
I know that.
That's what I'm saying, I don't know where that's coming
But
from.
this is, I'm not saying that's your intention, or that's her way of thinking, but if this is what makes her feel comfortable, that she's responsible for all the money that comes in and out of this borough, and she's trying to cover her butt. And I'm
It's
like,
locked up, correct?
who has
it
the
is,
combination of the
that's
safe?
not saying, Ron, but that's not saying that you could bring somebody in to open the safe. I'm not saying that you would, but this is like, these are legit concern, like, I mean, I don't think she's being unreasonable.
Before, the mayor had the key to the office because he has a file cabinet in there. Does Chris
But this
have
is
the key to
something
the office?
And he's also, and Chris is in my key policy. Did you read the revised key policy that I wrote?
Well, no, we just got it stuck in front of us.
I emailed it to you in your packet.
So we need to resolve this, we can go with the key policy, but the key thing we need to address. I say that me and Doug gets a key to the office because we are check signees. Everybody else, and we will also have an access key to the building, and every council member will also have access key to the building, as many are on different committees.
I got you. And I'll take it a step further. My recommendation is the president, vice president get issued keys. However, refrainment from accessing the office during working hours while the employees are here is adhered to.
So you're saying that the president and vice president will not only have keys to the building, but will have keys to the office, is what you're specifically saying?
Solely. Unless other council would like to have keys to the office or to the building.
I don't want any keys, I don't want any keys.
We're trusting the secretary.
If I need in this building, I'll call Joyce.
So what you could do, Doug, if that's the direction that you all want to go down to, you could just approve the policy that Joyce added as amended to include president, vice president under the definition of long-term key holders. And then if that system doesn't work, you always have the ability to revise the resolution and change the policy to something.
Here's the thing, and I'm going to be transparent with everybody. I could care less if I get a key. I really do. I could care less if I step foot in that office. But here's the one thing I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear, I need this, I need that, I need that. Whatever. I don't care. If you don't want, because it has been conveyed to me, and I have spoken to the solicitor regarding this, that I got the impression that when it was stated to me that we aren't to be in that office, that's it, done. You don't want me to be in the office, but yet I'm gonna be the borough council president, then that's fine. I don't want a key, that door is closed. The way things sit right now, don't want a key. But if I call you, you're not readily available, then we're gonna revisit this.
Something needs to be agreed on, because I'm talking about keys, being really honest.
Well, and then there's a letter that went to the township, you know, addressing an emergency, the calling order to get access to the building.
Right. There's a protocol for an emergency or if, you know. Chris will have access to the building like if I were going on vacation and the office. In my policy.
Now, see, I will put my foot down on that one, because who's responsible for taking over borough manager duties when you go on vacation? There you go.
Okay, we can change it to the council president.
That's, this, we all three come back to this again. And again, with that letter being sent out, I don't see the borough council president on there either.
On the emergency list?
Yeah.
That's because you, in my policy, you wouldn't have had it. That was, yes.
Then my recommendation is, I'm gonna table this, and that policy that you have put forth, Joyce,
Yes.
I'd like revisited along with this one by the solicitor and see the best out of both, if that's okay.
So that's a mandate for the council members who have the public access. Or like I said, for the committee, there's no reason we can't have to keep that door and that door up there. We've had them for years. We're not gonna play the control game anymore.
So what, let me understand, so what you're saying is the borough council president won't have a key to that office, and the mayor, did you say Chris Nazi will have a key?
That was the,
Well, no,
not
That
all
doesn't
the
make
time.
sense.
Not all the time, in case the manager was out.
When the manager's out, the responsibility falls on the borough president. What's the matter, Joyce?
I'll just make an entrance key to everybody in the borough.
I don't want, you're being ridiculous. I don't want a key. I don't want.
I've asked the solicitor to review both key policies to see what can be taken out of either one of them and produce one policy. I think that would be the wisest choice to go, be the most meaningful one. I can tell you right now, I would like to be added to the emergency contact list.
Okay.
I think it's twofold with the other helmet or hat that is worn by me too.
Okay.
So, and that stays there. I'm not going any further with that one either, but.
And I'm gonna ask for a public access key.
And that's something that will be taken into account and absolutely, show of hand, all right. Yeah, no, I'm gonna do this. Make a motion to have the solicitor review both key policies to see which, out of the two, what elements out of those two can be put and incorporated into one resolution. Can you do that, please? Thank you. With that being said, in the interim, show of hands by council members who represent a committee or actually on an active committee. Do you have a key?
Not yet.
Okay. You know where I'm coming from.
What's that? Yeah.
Water.
I requested. Yeah.
Okay. Show of hands. Now, out of the ones, hold your hands up, please. Out of the hands that are raised, who has a key? Who would like a key? Lower your hand if you do not want a key.
If you do not.
Correct. Yes. All right, 1, 2, 3. And we'll make it 4. All right. We're going to make this real easy. The 4 that had their hands up are going to be issued a key. An entrance key only for the time being. Until the solicitor returns with elements from both the policies to see about incorporating them in one. I'm going to beat this cat to death.
So, he's doing that, so when we were saying you're gonna get put on the emergency list, so maybe you'll get a key. So how about we'll just do one key between me and you, and if you're not available, I'm available.
That's fine.
Would you do it that way?
Yeah, that's fine.
Another option is key card access.
But we're getting to that too, along with cameras.
Logs, the time.
How much would that cost?
Actually, it's not that much. And it can be ran, we were discussing that, and we're just, I mean, you can take it a step further with the ring doorbell, and keypad access. We can go back to that too. But we were looking at, camera installs, both out front, because a lot of the kids out front, and inside. And leaving it at that. But that's something that we'll look at down the road. Very inexpensive systems are available. All right, so at this, make a motion to table resolution 2026-10 until next meeting. Wait, all those in favor? Resolution 2026-11, amending resolution 2026-9, establishing borough standing committees.
So, if you recall, at the last meeting, we approved 2026-9 to formally establish the committees and enable the advertisement so that the finance committee could hold a meeting. So we did that, and they were advertised. There were some components of that resolution that I suggested removing, such as Borough Council being responsible for selecting chairs of those individual committees and letting them essentially adopt their bylaws, elect their own chairs. Some of the general frameworks that you see associated with those separate committees. So I've prepared this resolution doing that, but I also flagged just in review, further review, since I had the opportunity since the last meeting, to point out certain sections that you might want to incorporate into your ultimate standing committee resolution. Some of those suggestions are building out in section, or section 1, the committee subject matter, so a description of each of the committees so that you have a more defined task for each of them. While it's generally understood, you see those incorporated into these committee resolutions so that there's no question as to the purpose of the establishment of the committee. Removal and vacancy provisions, those are often incorporated, as well as what happens with successors on the committees, whether they serve as holdover members until their successors are appointed. That also ties into the terms of service and number of members on each committee. Those are common components to include in these resolutions as well. So that's something to consider. There's no pressing need at the moment to adopt this. I wanted to come back to you with some of these policy elements to incorporate into a resolution that would amend the one that you've already passed. The real pressing circumstance was at the last meeting to make sure that we approved it and got the advertisements done so that you could hold the meetings. But you can amend the resolution at any point in time. I just wanted to come back with you as potential additions to further strengthen the committee resolution.
Okay.
The alternative is, if you feel comfortable with the current structure, I'm just removing the provisions that we discussed at the last meeting. That's also before you as well for potential action, if you're happy with this structure.
Has council taken an opportunity to look that over? It's no different than the previous one.
The biggest thing was we didn't have any committees established by resolution before. That was the idea.
Correct.
So, I'm good with what we did.
Alright. Motion on the floor to accept the resolution 2026-11, amending the resolution 2026-9.
Motion.
I have a second.
Second.
All those in favor? Under new business, we're striking number 1, that's been addressed, the Republic representative concerning sporadic and or missed trash recovery. Retention pond easement on Railroad Street, maintenance responsibilities. Okay, I can help you out on that one, if I could.
Well, and that, Chris, I sent the paperwork.
That's fine. I already talked to him.
Okay.
Yeah, and I talked to Chris. Unfortunately, with the way that property sits, it is part of her, it is her responsibility, part of her assessed tax property, or property taxes. It is part of her property. Unfortunately, that was not something that was fully disclosed at the time of signing, when she bought the house, looking at over the property. I did share with her that at one time, the borough did provide somebody to go and clear that retention pond, but that was as a courtesy, not mandatory. And it was the older gentleman in the green, Jeff, or, yeah, he drove the green truck. I absolutely remember him. He was the older guy with the mustache. He always hung out with Lee.
Okay.
Yeah, you know who I'm talking about? Okay, so he would always go down there and actually do the clearing, but after, he had passed, and that was a courtesy, and I explained that to the resident. Unfortunately, it is her responsibility. I did state to her, with that being so close to the waterway and being an active drainage pond, she probably will not be able to fill that in. So, and that's where I left it at, so.
Matt, we had this discussion back with Charlie. Didn't that pond belong to 2 of those houses?
That was on the front side of Shelley's.
Well, no, that guy took care of that one, but he said the one on the bottom by the well house belonged to the 2 houses that were right above the curb.
It actually looks like 3 agreed.
I don't remember, you have to look at the deed and.
If you go out to your county or GIS property assessment viewer, you'll see that the easement pond, or that drainage pond is on the single property. The whole pond.
What's to the point now that it's grown out into the other properties?
Yeah, Joyce forwarded me the deed, and it is conveyed subject to the drainage easement that you referenced, and it incorporates by reference the plan, the original plan. I haven't looked at the original plan yet, but that would depict drainage facilities that were conveyed. Easement to those drainage facilities.
But if that's a state road, that easement, easement to include as part of the borough?
So the plan was developed way back when with certain drainage pathways. And once those properties were sold with the development of the land, they were sold subject to that drainage easement. So the right to convey that water, so properties are aware that, or when they purchased it, they should have been aware that they were draining through.
Yeah. And that's the way I conveyed it to her. That when the developer came in, and if I'm correct, that house was built 1998, I believe, don't quote me on that one, 98 or 90, I'm pretty sure it's 98. But, that was part of the developer, and I explained that to her. I said the developer is required by law, Act 167, I think it is. And Chesapeake Stormwater Management also, that they had to have those put in.
So ideally, whenever those conveyances are made, there's also at that time a recording of an operation and maintenance plan, so that it's incumbent upon the landowners that they're binding. Sometimes those are incorporated into the plan notes, but it really depends, unfortunately, on the age of the development, on whether or not those restrictions were put in place. The act that you're referring to was essentially the turning point in Pennsylvania on when those enforcements were made. I think it was the 70s.
Yeah.
Stormwater Management Act was enacted, but yes, these are responsibilities of the landowner. I'm happy to look at the recorded plan if you want me to.
I think we're good for now. I haven't heard anything further, but I mean,
She's just super upset.
and I understand, and I really do respect that. I mean,
So there's nothing we can do to actually fix the pond. Like the pipes are all busted up.
We would enforce the operation and maintenance on the landowner.
Oh, so she'd have to fix it? But she's able to fix it. Because
Yeah, she
what I
can fix
understood,
it.
she can't even touch it.
Just to make sure that she's not impeding the drainage of water.
Correct. If she's doing a correction or an improvement, she would have to have that reviewed and looked at too.
Basically, she can't fill it in.
Correct.
Can't fill it in. But she can fix the pipe. Because that little pipe is like kind of up, so then all that water stays in there.
Well,
And
some of it will.
it's got all kinds of
Well, if you
critters.
go down and look at the one down the end of Duck Road on the right,
Yeah.
below Whitmire Park,
Big pond.
the same thing.
That's the same way down there. And that's owned by the township, actually. Well, not owned by the township, but the developer put it in. But whoever's the property owner down there.
Listen, after this whole ordeal, I don't want to hear the word easement ever again. Jeez Louise. Oh, listen,
All right, moving on. Designating the last weekend of June as the annual borough yard sale date. I don't think we need an actual motion. That's in the notes. The dates are,
27, I believe.
yeah,
Yeah.
26 and
26 and 7.
Thank you. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. 26 and 27, starting at 8 a.m. So, that being
I thought
said,
it was usually 7. Is it 8? It's 8.
we can make it 5.
It's better than
Discussion. Okay, so, the rec committee, wanted to make sure to bring this up. So, rec committee has access to the laptop. Finance committee, I'd like to have access to the desktop.
There's some. We
How
have,
many computers?
we have dual screens.
No, there's not 2 computers.
Oh, there isn't?
It's
Okay.
just one laptop. and two screens.
Okay.
Yeah, so, yeah. I mean,
That's
We
fine.
always have, we can just go, well, they can just go.
Yeah, and that's just for like note taking and putting any documents together that you want to.
Yeah, because like, we can't use our personal laptops for financial information to take outside the borough. We need
Correct.
something stays here, so
I'm
we'll
on both committees.
right, so yeah, that works out, yeah, that works out.
So you guys can contact Brian and actually have him put another profile on that computer for finance.
Okay.
Okay? So then everybody on finance will only have access to that, no fees.
Right, and I know the laptop, I know the laptop is working in the office. And no, we need to change everything with Brian. Yeah.
Okay. I'm good with that.
We'll have to, like, make an adjournment.
We're skipping number 5, that's, a non-issue at this point with, holding on, any work. Treasurer's report, council has a copy of the treasurer's report, do I have a motion to accept? Actually, hold on, motion to accept, discussion under new business. No, never mind. Moving on, treasurer's report, you were saying.
What were the 3 Comcast fees? Are they paid quarterly?
Oh, the franchise fees?
Yeah, I saw that too.
That's incoming money. It's
That's
under receipts.
paying us to be on our polls to distribute.
Yeah.
Is that quarterly or is that monthly?
I think we did something month.
Let's say, because I think there was one on there last month too.
Yeah. So it's the whole, it's whole round, is that what it is?
There should be
Yeah.
franchise agreements.
Yeah, yeah. So that's what the receipts are. And just bringing that up, I asked Matt to put it on the website. Frontier's running new fiber, it's starting down in town. They started today, so if you see line trucks downtown, that's what they're doing. They're gonna be up in Shelley's, it's gonna take them till about August. So they'll be putting new fiber.
For what it's worth, Comcast is running new lines all the way down North York. I don't know why.
Yeah, they are. They're just-
That's Comcast.
It's a Comcast, they must be affiliated, because the guy from Frontier called me.
Typically you do it at the same time.
Yeah, the guy that was
They're all
up
out
for
there
my
doing
house
that.
this afternoon, he's from Frontier, he's a subcontractor. And it's funny, because he works for Frontier, but he has Comcast, but I won't say anything.
All their boxes said Comcast, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Did Verizon just buy out Frontier?
Yes.
Yeah, I think
Verizon.
Verizon, yes, they did.
Yeah.
Is Comcast with that too, or?
Verizon owns Frontier.
Right. I only have one other question. Why does it show Salisbury Hughes being paid for litigation for the electric?
What was that?
What? Says Salisbury Hughes being paid for litigation from electric.
That could be bill, past due bills, it could be, they were part of the lawsuit.
They were a named party in the complaint.
It was what?
The electric company was a named party in the complaint.
Oh, okay.
So it's a separate.
Yeah.
It could be,
Sure.
past due bills would be considered litigation by lawyers, right? That's for sheriff's sale, stuff like that.
You good?
Yep.
Make a motion to accept the treasurer's report as presented.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Presentation of bills, council has a copy of all bills, motion to accept, or to pay the bills.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Last go around, citizens' remarks. Anything? Council, long round of horn. Peter?
Nay, I have not.
Really?
I just like to thank Chris for so quickly getting on the graffiti. It's been a great.
Whatever you call
When
it.
was pointed out to me, I saw him and he was right on it, so.
It was one of those areas that was allowed to use it.
All right, I have nothing, at this time, no announcements to provide other than next month's meeting. Motion to adjourn.
I make that motion.